Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Leo. If Leo is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, Leo, let's get going. And so we have the Six of Discs tonight, which is all about success, about the things that you have put your efforts into coming into blossom, right? Unfurling, the beauty of it all. It is a wonderful card, right? I always love this artwork. It just feels like a burst of some kind of awe, right? You see the pictures of the paintings of the Annunciation, or, one of these saints being visited by an angel, or, some divine force, right? And it's just this beautiful light and awe, and a sense of wonder and just, mind blown. So that's what I always think of when I see this. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to be pleasantly surprised, right? Okay, now we're going to see how these tea leaves kind of go along with this energy. And I want to go ahead and say thank you so much for deciding to click on this reading and check out, maybe you know what tea leaf reading is. Maybe you have never seen it or heard of it. It is a fun and interesting kind of divination medium. It is fun, but it's not, it's something, it gets serious, right? Especially if you're here at this channel. Sometimes we talk about the difficult stuff. We're not gonna ignore it. But don't worry. We'll keep it as light as we can. We'll look for all the best stuff. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. Now, it looks like we had a tower moment, but I feel like this is in the past. It is dipping towards the left, which, that is, the left for me is the past, is the past. The right is the future. So if we see a formation looking this way or moving this way, we know going towards the future. If we see it kind of, and this is the tower, leaning towards the past, which it leads me to believe that, yes, this is something that you've already been through. Now, this might be ancient history, but as we know, the tower moments, when it does come crumbling down, these are very core things to our life, right? These are our relationships, our finances, our health, our home, the actual physical homes that we live in, our mental health, and so on, right? So when something happens in our life that is, often pretty devastating, we would say that this is a tower moment. So you have been through something, but then I see up at the top here, it looks like we have a lion standing on top. You can see, like perched up there. I went way too close. I tried to change my lighting a little bit because the set is a little different and it's a lot brighter. And so you're gonna have to bear with me as I figure out how to make sure the light looks okay. So yes, we have the lion up there on top of this tower. Okay, so you have figured it out as much as you possibly can, right? You have made the best of the situation. You have, I feel like chosen to take those troubles, whatever they were, and create blessings of them, right? And so what does that mean? Well, life is never easy for any of us, You know, some people make it look easier, and some people are just, you know, dealt cards that it makes it seem like they're handed everything, right? But we all have our struggles, seen or unseen. A lot of it, though, right, depending on what it's going to do to us in the long term, how it is going to transmute us, is up to really what we decide to do with it. Now, we all grieve, and we all have these, you know, dark night of the soul. What is that? That's when we're going through it. That's when we're out in the wilderness. That's when we feel like we have, you know, no recourse to fix. We might lose meaning. We might lose our emotional ties to things. We feel like we're adrift. I always think of the dark night of the soul in my mind as being in the valley at night, in some lunar landscape. And the wind is howling. It's arid. It's creepy looking. It's, you know, you don't know what's out there, but there you are. You're walking through that valley. And you're trying to find your way, and you're tired, and you're dehydrated, and you're maybe even, you know, starving, but you keep going. You keep going. And so I see you climbing on up on the ruins of what was and beginning to build. You've surveyed the land. You've decided, I'm not going to let this bury me. I'm going to climb on up. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to start again. And so, and this one's so interesting to me. I see we have a person here who also has their head next to the rim. Oops. Oh, I touched their hand. Where did it go? On the rim here, okay? This is the metaphysical. This is the psychic. Now, the head is touching that. So we're in our higher thinking, definitely. Okay? This is, I believe this, and I'm just going to say, this is my theory, and it's limited, and it's skewed, and it is anecdotal, and, you know, all the things. But I do feel like people who have gone through their ordeals. I mean, and you'll continue to have ordeals your whole life, but if you have been through some real ordeals, like things that, you know, it feels like you were crawling through hell at times, right? These are the people that have been broken open. And I don't mean that like you're a broken person, but it is. It's like we get these little fissures in ourselves, right? All these traumatic things. But we get broken open here and there, and we crack a little bit. And we all know that quote, right? That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets into us. Because we understand what it is to suffer. We understand how hard life can be, how miserable life can be, how cruel life can be. And it softens us. Not that we're like some punk, right? Oh, no, no. But it softens our heart. It brings us a deeper understanding, an empathy, a vision that only somebody who has been through it can understand. And I know that you've been through it. And so we have this person who is in this place who has this deep understanding of how bad things can be, but also how good they can be, and how worthwhile the journey is. So head to head with, over here we have the deer. You can see the body. Here's the face and the little antler, and here are the legs. And head to head, look at that. There's like a little bridge between their foreheads there. Meeting at the mind's eye. Now, who is the deer? What is the deer? They have the saying, right? The most sacred deer. The most sacred deer. So, when I see the deer, I know you are having a moment of revelation in your life. Your heart has been touched by the divine, by spirit. Now, I don't know if you're somebody who is a religious person, a spiritual person, somebody who partakes in practice or belief or you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is applicable to many different situations. But what I think of, and let me be clear, although, you know, here we embrace all religions, all beliefs. I myself am very composite in my understandings of the universe, of the divine. You know, I am also somebody who likes to visit different kinds of churches and temples and mosques and be so privileged to witness people in their grace, in their faith, in their practice. And these aren't the only religions, right? But, you know, the vastness of belief and beauty that this earth holds, right? And so when we have this moment, and this is the feeling that I'm trying to get to here is, if you've been to a place or to a service or, you know, a gathering, a spiritual ritual or ceremony or whatever of some kind. Now, it doesn't have to be that this is just like about, you know, faith or belief or whatever. But to the point, let's get to the point, Lenor. When you have that moment where you feel that you are surrounded by the divine. Now, maybe it's like when you walk into a sacred space. Maybe it is a grove of trees on consecrated land. Maybe it is walking into a cathedral at high mass. Just the essence, the feeling of it. It could be a moment you see something that just absolutely you can't even comprehend. For me, when it's seeing images of space from the Hubble or what's the James, I forget what it's called, the newer one, right? All these beautiful images of space, these, you know, mock-ups of things and events, celestial events, and you know, the learning that that comes with all of these new advancements. And though that feeling is very much like being with God or Goddess, at least in my estimation. So whatever it is, I feel like you found your way in there. You've had this moment, or you are having it. Right? And it is an awakening. It is a reminder. You are not separate from the sacred. You are not just some vessel that is traveling through the lands of the divine or, you know, whatever. You are as much a part of this thing as anybody or anything else. You are divinity. And there's this consciousness rising in you, Leo. And I feel like part of this comes from you finding your way through your ordeals. You are becoming more confident. You are listening to yourself. You know your power. Now you're learning where you belong in all of this. What does that even mean? Where is your place in this universe? What is the meaning of your life? Why are you here? What is the work that you've chosen to do will manifest in this body, in this life cycle? Now, these are big questions, right? But I don't think you're afraid to ask them. Now, we also have, it looks like somebody here. Now, they look like they're kneeling. And it looks like, I almost imagine if they're scrying. Or maybe praying, or maybe making offering, or heck, they could even be making dinner. I don't know. But they're doing something and it feels very elemental. Like I'm imagining bringing things together, combining them, creating something from what feels like nothing, right? But you have that ability. You are resourceful. Now behind, we have a person standing over. Now, I feel like this is an apparition. This might be your spirit guide, your guardian angel, but I feel like more likely this is an ancestor. This is a elder. This is somebody who watches over you. And I don't know that you have ever met them in the physical. I feel like this is maybe when I close my eyes, and I'm closing my eyes, I almost imagine that this is like an older male. That's what it feels like, a masculine energy. And I feel like you grew up maybe having dreams of them, or you would see them around. Like in the neighborhood or on the property, maybe even in the house. But it almost feels like, and this is strange, I know. But it almost feels like you experience them as anybody else, right? But they're not manifest. And so I think as you got older, maybe you started to realize that you see things that other people don't see. And that maybe at times you have had to ask yourself, is this person, like alive and fully in their physical, corporeal body? Or am I witnessing, the remnants of something, maybe a ghost or a apparition, or, am I having a vision, or, whatever it is. But I feel like there is this being that watches out over you. And interestingly, yes, I feel like you experience them as like, oh, maybe it's like a neighbor that lives down the way, but you never actually like knew their family or saw them going into their house or, anything. And it was somebody who was watching over you. It was a dang old ghost, maybe. Something akin to that. So I feel like all of these years, and likely the rest of your life, you do have this presence that walks with you. And if you went to like a psychic or somebody who has eyes to see, some kind of clairvoyance, I bet you that they would tell you that they saw this person walking in before you, right? This is somebody who really, really has a strong, and I can't emphasize. It reminds me of like how I feel when my daughter, who's 4, right, is in the parking lot, and we're very, you know, we're not fun parents. We don't let our kid. I'm thinking of our cats and our kid. I always call them our kids. We don't let our daughter like run around in the parking lot or whatever. We're very like, give me your hand, hold my hand, get right over here. You know what I mean? Like, so that feeling though of grabbing her hand, and she's not so bad about pulling away now, but when she was like, you know, 3-ish, she started to get that wild independence and would try to get out of your grip there and run into the parking lot. And that fear of like, oh, you know what could happen, God forbid, right? But that fear that you have, just get out of the street, get out of the parking lot, hold my hand. No. That's it. I get into that. No. Grab my hand. But I feel like this presence has this kind of anxiety at times about you and your well-being. And so I feel like, when things have been going kind of not the way that you had hoped, there's a lot more guidance happening in the dreams, visions. There's just an atmosphere of this person around. I don't know, it feels, it doesn't feel bad. Like, as I'm saying it, I'm like, I would not like that. Although I have my grandmother who's always with me. And, I feel like she definitely lets me know when especially when I'm getting out of pocket, when I'm getting like ramped up, all of a sudden there will be a lot of like distractions. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to argue. I'm ready to be real upset about something. And then all of a sudden, like, a dish falls and breaks everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I got to go clean this up. Hold on. We're going to talk in just a minute. You know what I mean? And you're over there cleaning up and you start to forget that you were so upset. And I know. She's around. She's helping me out. She's giving me, like I'm a toddler, giving me positive distractions, redirecting my behavior. So I don't feel like this is a bad thing. I don't feel like it is like oppressive or any of that. Really, I feel like if you know who I'm talking about, or you have at least like that feeling of, it is a warmth. They come with a sense of warmth with them, but just a little bit neurotic. I think that's what it is. It feels neurotic, like overly careful about stuff, overly worried about things, And so, I don't know. I think it's a welcome thing for you. It's my instinct to say I would be annoyed with that. But reality is, I think that you enjoy having this partnership with this ancestor. And I do. I think this is somebody that you're related to somewhere down the line. Okay, let's go. Sometimes it's hard to get out of certain parts of the reading because, let me just tell you, I was trying to explain this to some family yesterday, and we were having dinner. And I'm trying to explain what do I see? What do I feel while I'm having these moments, right? And sometimes I'm just getting imagery. I'm getting feelings, impressions about stuff. And I'm seeing, obviously, the formations. And that's helping. They're like markers. They help lead to where I'm going. Sometimes, though, it's like I open a door. I walk into a room. I'm so immersed in it. I can smell. I can, smell what's going on in there. The colors affect me. The, atmosphere. There are people that are, trying to show themselves to me. Now, it's not always super clear, but it's like, I can't explain it. It's like if you were in the fog, right? And somebody comes close to you and you try to see them and you try to, really lock in and look. But then as soon as you really look at the thing, they kind of disappear, right? Back into the fog. And so I get locked into these moments where I'm like, please just show me a little more. let me try to figure out what you're trying to show me here, So thank you for sticking with me. Sometimes I just want to stay in those rooms because they're beautiful. There are feelings that I've never felt or impressions that I've never had before. And I'm there for it and I want it. I want to see. All right, so we have 777. We also have 66 as a number. So 777 and 66 right there. We also have a bird, so we have a message coming through for you. We also have the balance of the sun and the moon right here. So I feel like things going well in your relationships. And there is. It feels like there's some kind of victory. This feels like something within your work. We have a V. That's why I think it's victory. And it's next to the sun and the moon. So I feel like maybe you work with your significant other or you work really hard together to support each other's dreams and your careers and your, and even just the schedules, right? That's the big thing. We always talk about supporting each other's dreams and helping each other achieve the things that, our beloved ones, our kids, our significant others, our family members, whatever. A lot of times it's just about aligning schedules in a way that everybody gets gets all the things that they need. At least in my experience as a family person, that's sometimes the biggest support we can have, right? Having each other's backs where there's one, there's maybe a gap there somewhere. Somebody saying, I'll step up, I'll do the thing. You go ahead, I'll do mine later, or you do the, whatever. And I feel like whoever it is, and now it could be your significant other. It feels like it probably is, but it could also be like a roommate or, somebody you're close to, a good friend, a companion. But I feel like you really promote each other's ability to do well within your workspace. Okay, so I do feel like in this next cycle of time, there will be kind of a beginning of growth. So if you have like a newer job, I see you really starting to have that upward movement pretty quickly. If you've started a business, getting some traction, really starting to have like an understanding of how you want this to work. Now maybe you already have a business or you've been at a job for a long time, and we go through periods of time where we're just going through the motions. We're just meeting our the things that we know we have to. We have a list of stuff we have to do every day, and getting that stuff done and good enough. But then I think that you are moving into a time where you are seeing that you want to do more. You want to, maybe move up, or maybe it's about making more money, or, having a schedule that fits you better, getting on a different shift, or, whatever it is. Whatever it is. I see you making a change that allows for a lot of growth. Okay, so I think just realigning, tinkering a little bit, and having somebody who has your back in your life, right? Like somebody who's going to be there to help support you. And like I said, where sometimes there are you know, gaps in our schedule, or you know, you're unable to do something, like I'm going to take on these shifts and I won't be home to make dinner, you know, on these certain days, and having somebody in your life say, well, I'll make dinner those nights. That's not a problem. You know, it might seem really simple and small, but that kind of support is everything. You know, those are the real building blocks of not only our ability to do more and more in our work, in our beloved things, in our creativity, but also it really solidifies our relationships. So I think that you're very lucky in that regard. Okay, Leo. Now we're going to do 3 lucky numbers. 49. Okay, 49. 78. 49, 78, and 83. 83. All right. And we'll finish with our self-care affirmation cards. I'm just going to flip through. I'm going to stop where it feels right. And it says, peace of nature. And there's our deer. Time in nature rejuvenates me. The quietness of the trees and the wildlife brings peace to my soul. The earth grounds me as the sun energizes me. I carry the stillness of nature within me. I carry the stillness of nature within me. Yes. All right. Wow, Leo, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And I know I'm just going to keep, if I start, it just, I know sometimes they're just so, it drives me nuts. You can never get them perfect. All my altars are like this. I'm just constantly like, okay. But anyways, yes. What was I? I'm just so happy to have you here. I'm sorry. You know what? It's Sunday. I'm having a nice little day. And yeah, I get a little silly. But yeah, if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. I love spending this time with all of you. It's getting warm here. Now I feel like such a true northerner now, because when it's really cold, which it was like negative, I don't know, what was it, like negative 20 the other day. And with the wind, it was like negative 30 overnight. And now it's going up to be in the 30s. And I feel like now I'm mad that it's getting warm. So you can never keep a northerner happy about the weather. We always have something to be. Where's the snow, by the way? We've had almost no snow. Please send us some snow. I went and got us all some sleds, and of course, as soon as I got the sleds, we haven't had snow since. So we need some of that. Send it up north, please. And anyways, I could ramble forever. Leo, I love you. Thankfully, you know, not as many people watch my Leo readings. So I can get real goofy at the end at least. So, yes, I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk in a few days. Good night. Send some snow, please. Please, please, please. I'm not kidding.